So in this session, we will discuss about date pickers. Date pickers, or we can even say this as calendars. So how do you handle date pickers or calendars in Selenium? So we have seen how to automate web table in the last session, right? So web table is a customized element, meaning like it's not like a drop down, or it's not like a input field checkbox. It's not like fixed one. So we have to automate it as per the design. So how it has been designed, based on that we need to write the logic, customized logic for web table. So in the same way, date picker and calendars also. So it's not like a fixed format how you handle the date pickers, right? So it's based on the design, so how it is designed or developed, right? So how it was implemented, based on that. So based on that design, we have to actually write the logic to automate the date pickers. Let me show you an example. So if you see here, this is date, right? So you only get to see that date picker when you actually click on it. Click on the date. So if I click on this date, so we get a calendar, and we wanted to select a particular date. For example, within this, if we wanted to select one date, right? So same month and year. So if you observe, month is a drop down, calendar year is a drop down, right? And if you wanted to select one date, you will select the date, right? So no problem. And if you wanted to select any, if you wanted to change the month within same year, then you will just click on the month drop down. You will select some month, the past month. So you can call all the above ones are past months, and the below ones with the current month, or with respect to current month, are the future dates, right? So say for example, I wanted to click on the previous month. I can select the previous month within the same year. Or if I wanted to select previous year, right? So you can just click on the year drop down, and you can see the years here, right? So whatever are the available years, so you can just select them. Select one of these, right? So the past and the future date, like this, right? So this will be this very easy, because you just need to inspect these elements, and we know how to automate the drop downs, right? So it will be a select class, and from this it will have options, and we can use options, right? Select by visible text, select by value, select by index. One of these methods we can use, and we can select these options from this drop down. Same is the case for year as well, right? And picking up the date, it's also very simple. So if you see here, you just hover on this. So if you see, these are all like anchor tags. Again, this is like web table, like a web table. All these dates, right? So it's a table, UI date picker calendar. If you hover on this, it is selecting everything, right? So, and under it, T body, and it has all the TRs, right? So each TR is representing like one row within it. See, like this. One row, right? So each week here is representing one TR, one row. And within it, it will have one TD, each cell, or we can say day, right? So this is simple. This we have seen in the last session. How do we automate this table? So you can easily select one of this. Maybe we'll actually take by each, we'll go by each row, and we'll get all the TDs, and then we'll just compare the text, right? So and then we can select it. That's simple. But selecting this month and year is also simple here, as it is a drop down, right? So we can do it. We can automate the drop down month, drop down year. So according to the expected date, and we can select the date also. As this date also is a web table. So it is arranged, these dates are arranged in a table format in rows and columns. So we can automate it simple, right? Now let's see something different. If, say for example, if it was designed like this, simple date picker, if I click on this date, right? So you can see here, right? Both month and year are like, it seems to be hard coded, right? So you can fetch this, but you can't actually select it from the drop down, both month and year, right? Date is same. You can select any date, right? So you can select it, but you can't actually select the month and year. So in that case, what you can do, they have given previous and next here, two arrows. You can see previous and next, right? So using only these arrows, you need to navigate to the particular date. Say for example, I wanted to navigate to February in the same year, right? So I have to click it, use the previous button here or previous arrow, right? Or if I wanted to go to the future date, then we have to use the next button or right arrow like this and go on check this month. So we'll read this month, we'll read this year, and we'll compare it. We'll come to know whether we have to, we'll write some logic, whether we have to click the previous button or next button. And based on that, we'll click it and then we'll compare this value with the current month. So using the current month, we'll actually find it out we'll compare it with the current month with the expected month. And then we'll actually choose either to click on the next button or the previous button. Based on that, so we'll navigate and we'll compare these values. And if these two matches, then both the month and year matches with the desired date, then we'll stop there and we'll select a particular date from here. So in such case, so if the design is like this, right? So if the design was simple, like if it was a drop down, then we would have easily selected it from the drop down. We know how to select a value from a drop down, right? We have learned that. And this is a web table, we can select one date from it. But if it was like this, right? So if it's fixed and you can't actually, it's like a label. You can't actually select from it. The only option you can select the date here is using this arrows, next and previous arrows. So in such case, we need to write the logic to actually click on these arrows to select the desired date. So you can take this as an assignment, but yeah, so we'll automate this and see how do we actually write the logic to automate this kind of date pickers, right? So I'm gonna create a new package for today. I'll call it as day 32. We'll create a new class. All right, now let's automate it. First thing what we'll do is we'll create a WebDriver instance and instantiate to Chrome browser, Chrome driver, right? So with this, Chrome browser gets launched. All right, now driver.get, we'll navigate to particular URL and then we'll maximize the window. All right, now we wanted to find this element, find this date picker, right? So this one, and click on it. And even before that, you have to see if it is a text box. So finally, if you select some date here, so it is displayed as a text box if you observe, right? So what we can do, we have to check if we are able to actually provide some value here directly, like treating it as an input field. So if you see here, it is actually taking month as a, so it's in the format of DD and 4 Ys, right? So you have to check even before automating, you have to check if it is an input field and if it is if it is accepting the value, input value directly, right? So say for example, right? Yeah, I'm able to do it, right? So in this case, we don't need to automate even, but taking this, so you can provide directly, right? So what we need to do for that, we need to treat this as an input field, right? So let's actually now locate this element. So you can see this element is inside same origin iframe. Okay, this seems to be in a iframe, this date itself, right? So how do you find it? Click on it here like this, and you can go back, you can inspect this element. For example, you click on this and you can see here, right? So if you go here, it's an iframe. You can clearly see it's an iframe, right? So it is within the iframe. So first we need to switch to this iframe. We have seen first we need to switch to the iframe. Driver dot switch to dot frame, and you can pass frame, you know, it doesn't have name, it doesn't have ID. We don't know the index. So in that case, we can depend on selector sub. So selector sub is providing related XPath. So let's take this related XPath and have it here. Y dot XPath. All right. So it is throwing error. Y dot. Okay. We need to pass a web element, right? So Y dot, okay, it has to be driver dot find element Y dot XPath. So we need to find the web element. Frame actually takes the web element, right? So this gives you the web element. If it is confusing, then what we can do is we can just take this out and have it here. So we just found the web element here, right? This is a web element which is indicating an iframe. And this iframe will provide it as a parameter to here, to this method frame, right? Now it actually switch the context to the frame. All right. Now what we wanted to do, we wanted to click on this input field. So take this ready to XPath here. So it is matching that one element. That's fine. So now driver dot find element y dot XPath. You'll just provide it here, right? And then what we can do, we can use the send keys method, right? So we can use the send keys method. Send keys. And then you can provide whatever date you want, right? So it is taking month as a first parameter, right? So you can provide something like this. Right? So what did we do here? We navigated to this URL. Then, so we wanted to treat this as an input field because it was accepting the text as a, so it was we can treat this as an input field and we were able to provide some text into it, right? So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to have some date here. Finally, even if you select some date, it is actually appearing as an input, right? Input field. So text field, right? So that we are doing it using the send keys method. Now, yeah, that's it. We did only that, right? So we navigated to it. This we have written because it is in an iframe. So it was not directly on the web page, it was in iframe. So we just switched to its iframe where this input field is there or date picker is present. And then we just use the send keys method to pass some data to it or date to it, right? So now let's see. It's throwing some error. by.xpath. Okay, we have to have one more brace closed. All right, now if you see, it has to provide some value into it using the send keys method, right? So in such cases, it will be very simple. If it is actually allowing us to provide the input as a text, right? So if it is an input text field and if it is allowing us to provide the text into that input field directly, then our job is simple. We can just use the send keys method to pass the particular date. Of course, in the date format, it accepts, right? So we can know that and we can provide that using the send keys method. Yeah, you can see here, it actually gives you it selects the particular date, right? Fine. Now, in such case, so say for example, we can we can consider this as method one, right? So say for example, you don't have this, you don't have this, like you can't actually put it as an input field, right? So in such case, what you do, you need to write the logic, right? So assume that it's not there, right? It's not allowed to enter as an input text field, right? So in that case, how do you automate it? So we have no choice other than using the date picker, right? So we have to use this date picker and choose the date. For example, let's refresh this. So if you see here, you have to click on it, date, and then you have to choose. You have to choose the date. If it is a future date, you have to click on this next arrow, right? Go on and then select a future date like this, right? So we are trying to automate that. So just assume it's not an input field. It is not allowing input, but you have to use the date picker to actually choose the future date and also past date. So in that case, you have to write our own logic. That's what we are seeing now, right? This is using date picker. So how do we do that? First, we need to click on this, right? So first we need to click on this input field so that we get this date picker. The first thing, we'll navigate to this URL and click on this date field, right? So then you will get a calendar here, right? Like this, or a date picker. After that, we'll write some logic to actually go to select our desired date, right? So first we need to click on this. So let's select on this date picker. So for this, we already found, right? Found the locator for this. Only thing was we use send keys. Instead of that, we can use click just to click on the date picker, right? So this has to actually click the date picker. All right. Now what we can do after this, what we wanted to select the desired date, right? So for the desired date to pass. So what we can do is we can actually have we can define year. Say for example, month and date, right? So some hard-coded values. So we wanted to select this date, right? So we are giving it in a format. We are specifying I wanted this year, month as February and date as 18 is what we wanted to select in the calendar that we have given. Now, how do you automate it? So we wanted to actually select this particular date. So we have to first know if it is a future date or past date. So it's a past date, right? So what we can do is we can just say for example, for now, we'll do select date and we'll pass driver instance, WebDriver instance, year, year to select, month to select, and date to select, right? We are going to write a method, customized method we are going to write, which actually does our job of selecting the particular date, desired date, right? So select date is a method which we are going to create now. So if you hover on this method is not there, right? So this method we are going to create now. This is called as user defined method. So if you hover on this, it says the method is undefined. It is not defined yet. So it is giving a quick fix, right? You want me to create a method with this signature is what it is asking. Yes. So just click on it. You'll get a method here, right? So you can just remove this to be default, right? Now, yeah, now we are gonna start writing the logic for it. So how are we going to write the logic for this? So first we will get the current month and current year. So how we are going to get the current month and current year? So we are gonna inspect this element, right? So this month and this year we'll inspect, and then we'll actually compare that if that is equals to the desired month or not, right? So if it is equal, then if both month and year are equal, then we can just go ahead and pick a date from the date picker, right? So that condition we will verify first. If it is not, so if it is not, then what we need to do? So we can click on this arrow, right? So we can click on this arrow. Say, just assume we are automating a past date, right? So we have to click on this arrow, previous arrow, right? So we'll click on this previous arrow. We compare it, say for example, so this is how it will be once you are landed onto this page, right? So we click on this date picker and you can see, one second, we'll just, okay. So if you see here, we just wanted to actually select a date, past date, right? So past date in the sense we have to click on this arrow. So we'll click on this arrow. We'll select these two values. If both month and year are the same in the sense like the desired value, then we'll stop there and then select a date from it, right? As we know, it's a previous date. So we again go back, like we again click on this. We'll actually check this. If it is the desired month and year, if it is, then we'll stop there and select a date. If it is not, then again we have to click on this previous arrow and so on, right? So that's the logic we are gonna write now. So for that, we need to fetch this label, current month and current year, right? So how we are going to do that? We'll inspect it and you can see here, this is the month. So select it and then first thing we'll do is driver.find element. We located the month. That's a current month, right? So by.xpath, this is the month. So what we need to get from it, we can't click on it, right? It's a label. We wanted to read the text from it. We wanted to know. We wanted to fetch that text, right? So it's a get text method we are using to actually read the text on that label, right? Get text actually returns string, right? String object. So string, we'll say it's a month, right? So let's actually see it as a month. So just to differentiate between this month, the past desired month and this month, I'll just call it as current month. So in the same way, we can have current year as well, right? Driver.find element. So let's go back and inspect the year label as well. This is the year label. Again, we wanted to fetch the text from that web element from year also, right? So we got the current month and current year. So we can compare this with the desired ones. desired ones in the sense the one which we wanted to finally select. So why we are doing what we are writing the logic for? We wanted to select a particular date. So the date has been given here. So we wanted to select this date from the date picker. So that's what we wanted to achieve, right? So for that, we created a method, customized method or user-defined method, which will be called. And we need to write a logic here so that we first land into this year and month, correct? Year and month, right? So this desired. So year and month is the desired date, month and year, right? So this we wanted to, in the within the calendar, we wanted to actually navigate to this correct month and year, desired month and year. For that, we are taking help of current month and current year. So current month and current year, if they are the same, then you don't need to do anything. You can just select the date, right? So for that, we'll write the logic here. So we'll check that. So the current month is equals to the month which I wanted, which I am actually wanted to choose a date for is what we are checking. And also, not only that, it has to equal year as well. Both has to be satisfied, right? So in this case, you can actually write the logic, of, getting all the dates, and then you can actually pick up one date from it, right? So let's keep this aside, right? So we'll write that logic here, right? And so say for example, if it is not, this is important. So if it is not equals, so even in our case, it is not, right? So it's August and 2024, right? So, but the desired is different. So in that case, we know it's a past, right? So in that case, what we wanted to do, we wanted to click on the left arrow or previous arrow. So previous arrow, right? So we wanted to click on this. We know we have to go back. So we need to automate this now. How do we automate it? Get this X path and click on it as it is past date, right? So this is past date. We clicked on that arrow. All right. Now what we wanted to check. So if we clicked on it, again we need to check if this month and year equals the desired one, right? So if it equals, no, right? But how do you check that? So again you need to fetch the current month and current year from the calendar once you click on the arrow. So once you click on this, again you need to execute this code. And again you need to verify if it is equals month and date. So if once it equals, we'll write the logic to select the date, right? So we know that this has to be looped, right? Continuously, this has to be run. So what we can do is we can write, and how many times it has to run, you don't know. We have no clue on that. How many times till this month and year matches with the current month and current year. So how many clicks we need, we don't know that, right? So, but we have to loop till that point, right? Till this condition becomes true. So till this big condition becomes true, we have to execute this logic of clicking on this previous arrow, and then fetch the current month and current year, validate it with the desired month and date, and if it is not, if this condition fails, again click on it, again go back, fetch the current month and current year, again check the condition if it is equals, if it is so, then fine. Maybe we can write the logic to select the date and we'll come out of it, right? So we can do a break, but we don't know how many times we need to loop through. That's the point I wanted to convey here, right? So for this, so if you remember, if you don't know how many times you need to loop through, then we will go for while loop, if you remember. While loop, and we'll just set true. So you have to be careful here. we are writing true. We are not writing any condition here, right? So we are just writing true, means this will run infinite times if you are not gonna write the break statement within the loop. We are gonna write it anyway, right? So how we are gonna do it is, so say for example, so if current month equals month and current year equals the desired date, right? So this has to be year. This is not date, right? So it has to equal month and year. All right. So we'll write the logic to select the date, or what we can do is we can break it. We can break the loop, right? So we can break the loop. First, we wanted to come out, right? So we wanted to come out of this loop. So what we can do is we can break it. Break in the sense, when we are breaking, if the current month equals the desired month and current month year equals the desired year. So here we can see, right? So if it is equal, then we will break and come out of this loop first. Then once we come out, we wanted to select the particular date, right? So how do we select the particular date? Let's go back and inspect this web table. This is a web table. All these dates, right? So these are web table. So if we see here, these are all TRs, right? Each week is representing one. So each TR is representing 1 week here. TR represents one row, right? We have seen this. It is under T body and we have a table. So see, you can see the table here, right? So this is a table. And this is a T body, and under it we have TR, and under it you can select the TD, right? So actually you can start writing the XPath also. See, for example, this is table. Underneath it, we have body. We wanted to go into the body, right? Under it, we'll go to TR, like this. Yeah, see, 5 rows are selected, right? From this TR, say for example, I wanted to select TD. See, 35 elements get selected. All are TDs, right? So under TD, if you see here, under TD, TD is one particular date, right? One particular date here, TD. So it is actually selecting all the elements, right? So we can actually take this one, and yeah, it is actually selecting the blanks as well. So what you need to do is you need to have the links. So it's an anchor tag here, right? So it is representing an NB. So it is, you can see here, it's actually link type, right? So if you hover on this, you'll come to know that. See, it's an anchor tag. Under TD, it's an anchor tag, which has the value 1, right? So say, for example, if you go to the some date here, 10, right? So if you see under TD, we have an anchor tag, and anchor tag has the actual value 10, right? Under it. So we can write something like this, so that it selects only the dates. So, right? So this we can use it as an XPath to actually have all the dates. We don't know which date we wanted to select, right? So we'll loop through it and get the text of each web element, each anchor tag, and then if it is matching with the desired date, then we'll just break there and we'll just click on it. That's the logic, right? So if you see here, this is the XPath and it is selecting exactly 31 elements, right? So this is all what we wanted. So we wanted to actually write an XPath for this, so that we get all these elements, so that we'll fetch each web element and we'll compare it with our desired date. We'll get the text out of it, of this web element, and we'll compare it with our desired date. If it matches, we'll just click on it. That's what. Say for example, I wanted 25, right? So I'll just click on 25. That's it, right? Month and year, we're already done. So we wanted to click on one date. So let's get this XPath driver dot find element by dot XPath anchor tag, and we have to use find elements here, right? So this is actually returning more than one element, and find elements returns list of web elements, right? So we have to capture that in a list of web elements. And let's call this as, these are all dates, right? So I'll call it as all dates. So we have all dates now. So from this, we have to select the desired one. So how do we do that? We can loop through it. We can write an enhanced for loop. So for all dates, and each date is a web element. You can see here, each date is a web element, right? So for each date, so I can't use this date. So we already use it. So I'll just say element. So if for each element, so what we wanted to check, if element dot that web element has the text get text which is equals to our desired date. Desired date, we passed it as a parameter to this method, right? So if this is the case, then we wanted to click such element, right? That element we wanted to click on it. And then do we need to loop through the other dates? No, right? So we can break this loop. Simple logic, right? So what did we do here? So till here, like it is fine. We wrote this while loop just to actually select the current month and current year. Sorry, to actually navigate till the desired month and desired year, we have written this logic. As it is a past date, so we will get the current month and current year. And if it is not, so if it matches with the current month and current year, we will break and come out of the while loop. Or else we go on repeat clicking on the previous arrow, right? We click on the previous arrow or the left arrow, right? We'll click on that and we'll go back, check the current month. Like this, we have written a logic. So until the desired month and year appears on the date picker. So once it appears, we have written a break statement. So which will come out of this while loop. Fine. Now, what did we do? We wanted to select a date. So for that, we have actually captured the XPath for it to select all the dates. So this was the XPath. From this, we wanted to select a particular date. So we have written an enhanced for loop and verifying each web element text of each web element. If it is equals to the current, like the desired date, then we will click on that particular element and we'll break it and we'll break the loop. We don't need to loop through it, right? So we are done. We are done selecting the desired date. So just to make sure, you can say here, selected date. We just wanted to display this, what was selected. Right? So we have completed writing the logic for it. So simple logic, right? So this while loop, you have to be careful as it goes infinite. So if you do not write this break statement. So we first break the statement and we have written the logic here. Right? So to select the date. So this date has to be selected. No. So let's run it and verify. So we have written a logic to actually select the month and year because those were not the drop downs. We depended on the, left or right arrow. So we are clicking on left arrow in this case as it is a previous date. See, it is gone clicking on the previous date, past date, and when it achieved the both month and year were equal, then it actually selected the particular date, right? Yeah, you can see that selected date also here. So we have written a customized or user-defined method here to do that. So this statement even we just writing it as is, right? So instead of it, So whatever values we are passing to the method, we are actually we are actually printing it the same. So instead of that, we can fetch the value which has been in this web element, right? So after this, what you can do is you can write something like this. You can just remove this, and then we wanted to fetch this, right? So you can just have this in a web element. Web element. You can just call this as a date picker. And date picker dot send keys. I'm just bringing this down, whatever logic you have written earlier, right? So we'll put it like this. So because we wanted this web element, we'll use this multiple times, right? So we can use this date picker itself directly to click on it, right? Date picker dot click, and also we are gonna use this date picker to get the text out of it because we wanted to validate it, right? So we just adjusted it. So earlier we had this web element. Directly we used send keys on this XPath. Instead of that, I have taken it as I have actually captured that into a web element object so that I can use this web element object wherever I want. I wanted to send keys with using this date picker. I can do that. I wanted to click on it. So I can use this web element again to click on it. I wanted to get text out of it. So I can use it like this. So we just had a variable for that web element, right? Now you can verify it again. Okay, this time let's actually change the value, right? So let's maybe change the value, something like this. Some past date. See, it is going to the past date and selected the date. Okay, we got some exception here. Let's see. Element click intercepted exception. Element click intercepted. Okay, there seems to be some issue like doing like that, but yeah, we can check it later. Okay, after clicking on it, so we are getting some issue here. So it was not able to fetch this, right? So maybe you can just have the same like what we had it earlier, right? Or this is not even required. This is just for our confirmation if the date is selected or not, right? So you don't need to depend on that. You can just we have written a logic to select the particular date. So just for our confirmation, we wanted to print something on the console, right? So this is not even required. So the whole point here is like we actually navigated to the particular URL. We switched to the frame, and then you know. Okay, maybe it is switch. Yeah, we switch it to the particular iframe, and then using this date picker, we clicked on the date picker, and then we wanted to select a desired date. So for that, we have written an user defined method, so which actually takes driver and both like and complete date uh, format like year, month, date as parameters, and you can see we have written a while loop which will always be true. We have to break it only when current month and current year equals to the desired month and year, right? So we are comparing in every iteration, we are comparing if it is equals to current month and current year. If it is so, we'll break the loop, this while loop, or else we'll continue clicking on this previous arrow. Go on, right? We'll click this and then we'll verify current month and current year if it is equals. If it is equals, we'll break it, or else we'll click on the left arrow or on the previous arrow, right? And once it is equal, we'll come out of this loop and then we have written this logic to select the particular date from that month and year, right? Or from that date picker. This is the logic to select the particular date. So this is what we did, right? Now, what we can do, this is the previous, past date. This is for the past date, right? So how to select it for the future date? So what we can do is, for that, we can just take a copy of this. And we can say it as a future date. We can call the current one as past date. Go to main method and it's a past date, we know, right? So we can just pass it as past date. Now, if I wanted, how do we actually make the changes? We have written future date, right? All right. So we'll check the current month and current year. If it is same, we'll break it. But what if it is not, right? So we have to click on the right arrow. See, this is on click on previous as it is past date. So we have to modify this. So it has to click on the right arrow. So how can we do that? So let's refresh this and get the X path for the right arrow or the next arrow. So this is the X path of it. We have to modify this X path. Yeah, seems like it's almost the same, right? So as the past date, the X path, so everything is same except they are denoting the previous with W and next with E. Maybe W indicates west and E indicates east, I guess. So this is the only place there is change in the code, right? So if you see here, except that everything will be the same, right? Because you just need to click on the next arrow as it is a future date, right? As it is a future date, so it will click on the next arrow and then it will compare the current month and current year. Again, like it will fetch the current month and current year, it will compare it with the desired month and year, it will break if it is equals. And then this logic will be the same. Once the date picker is open, the logic will be the same to select the date, right? It doesn't depend if it is a future date or past date. Date is a number, right? Fixed number, right? So it doesn't depend on the month and year. So you can just provide the same logic here. The only thing changes here is we have to click on the next arrow. So because that's the only challenge here, right? We have to know whether you have to click on the previous arrow or next arrow. If it is a past date, you'll click on the left arrow or the previous arrow. Or if it is a future date, you'll click on the next arrow or the right arrow. So we just had copied the same method here and then calling it as select future date, right? Now let's validate this. For now, we can comment it out and we'll call the future date and provide some future date. I'm just modifying the year, or if required, you can even modify the month as well, right? Now let's verify future date. We have given a future date here. So it's all about whether you need to select the left arrow or right arrow. So depending on if it is past date or future date, see it is actually clicking on the right arrow now, next arrow, because it's a future date, right? So we have called the future date method. So it is clicking on this arrow till the desired date is found. element click intercepted exception. It is not able to click on this. What change did we make? Okay, I think we made this change, right? Okay, let's revert this change. I'm gonna use this as is and click on it. Find element picker dot click, right? I think after this change, it was breaking. And also it's better we include the implicit wait. Driver dot manage dot timeouts dot implicit wait. And maybe we can give a default of 10 seconds. It's able to navigate till here. But it's not able to click this element, right? So we'll see that. Yeah, anyway, we have seen the past date, right? So in the same way it has to work. There seems to be some issue while clicking this element. So, but this is how you need to write the logic, right? So once this element is equal, so it has to click on it. Maybe we can write the WebDriver wait and try with, we can use WebDriver wait here. That is explicit wait, and then we can try it. Let's try it by writing the WebDriver wait. That is explicit wait. Maybe it was like going very fast and it's not able to find the date. That's to take driver also, right? And we'll use this wait method. Wait dot until expected condition is, it has to be visible, right? Expected conditions dot visibility of element located. It will not take web element. It has to take the by dot, right? So by dot we have already given here. and from this, it's a web element. So you can't pass the web element. You have to find the particular XPath for that. Visibility of element located. You have to provide the particular locator here. Like from this, you have to provide the particular date. So all right, but so that's a logic, right? So that's how you actually write the logic. You can even write the WebDriver wait here, but only thing is you need to write the by locator here. So from this, you need to find the locator and then we need to find it. So it was working, but somehow it's not working now. So it seems to be there seems to be some issue here. So like it was not able to click on this date picker. Even if you see the date picker was like closed. Sometimes this happens. So we just need to include the implicit wait and also if possible, like we had to write the explicit wait till the element is located on the web page, right? So it was visible, but yeah, let's run one more time and verify. Sometimes there could be some glitch, like if there is some network delay, right? If page is loading slowly, see in this case also, page is loading very slow, right? In that case, like there could be some glitch. So it is going there, but it's not able to click on the particular date. So let's change the date here. Seems to be it's like add is actually hiding the date picker. So I've just selected date, a different date here, which will appear on the top row. So maybe 25 comes in the last row, right? Within the month. And there was some ad which was like intercepting the date picker. Yeah, see, this time it worked, right? So this is because of you can see this ad, right? So these are all like see, we always get these ads, right? So this might be actually causing this interruptions to the actual web elements, right? So this was like, if you see this, yeah, you can clearly see this, right? So this ad was actually covering the date 25. So I have selected 25. This was not there. This ad was actually covering that. That was not visible for WebDriver to select that element. So when we selected which was visible, so it worked fine, right? So that's the issue. All right. So we can jump on to the next topic. So are you clear on this topic? Is everything clear on this topic? How we write the logic and all? All right, perfect. So now let's jump on to the next example. I'm gonna take a different example. Now, if you click on this DOB here in this, so this icon, you get a date picker again. Now, if you see here, it is like half drop down and month. Year is drop down. Month is like label, right? So in this case, how do you automate it? So if it was both drop downs, we would have selected the value from the drop downs, right? If it has a label, both label, then we could have done this using left arrow or right arrow, right? Now it is half year is drop down and month is label. So how do you automate in such cases? So what we can do for this is we can easily select the year, right? So based on the desired number, say for example, desired number, it feature, right? So 2032. So I can just select the year directly using the drop down. It's straightforward, right? But when we wanted to select the month, how do you select? So if I have provided some March, right? 2032 March 13th, something like that, right? Then so I can select the year. But how do you select the March? It is October. I can get this text. I can read this text, October, right? But the desired date is March. So how do you compare them? Right? So how do you know like whether you have to go to the left, whether you have to create this previous arrow or we have to click this next arrow? How do you know that? You don't know that, right? Like your expectation is say for example March, right? Say for example some March is selected. So it's in okay like this, right? Say for example it is March or February something, right? And it is if it is a future date, right? So how do you select this? You have to click on right arrow. So, but how do you know that? You will select this 2028. You have drop down for that, right? You can directly select the 2028. So 1 minute. All right. So if you select the future date, so year you can directly select, right? Now, what happens? We wanted to select the month, right? That's the challenge. So it is October, say for example. Then how do you actually select this? The desired one. The desired one is February. So how do you go? So February has to compare with, August. So if you compare that, you'll know that you have to click on the previous arrow, right? So 2028 can be selected, right? But it's a drop down, but you have to select the month here, February 27. So how do you compare February with this August? August will label. So you have to compare that. If you compare that and if you know that February comes before August, then you can choose this previous arrow to click, right? So say for example, if it was November, then you can compare November with August. And if you know that November comes after August with that comparison, then you can click on this right arrow. But how do you actually compare that? So that's the challenge here, right? So that we are gonna see now. So in this example, the main challenge is to select the month. Earlier, it was both month and year, right? So now it's a month, right? So how do you actually do that? How do you compare that? So how do you compare and how do you actually move from, from like, how do you actually choose this? Whether a previous arrow, next arrow, right? So that's a challenge. So we have to compare the month and based on that, we have to actually choose this next or previous arrow. All right. So let's try to automate it now. I'll create a new class for this and we'll call it as Datepicker example 2. We just get this 3 lines of 4 lines of code from here. And this will be the new URL, right? So this is a different URL. And again, this is also in a frame, in a different frame. So we need this as well. We need to switch to the particular frame because this is also in an iframe. So if you observe, this is also in a frame, right? So what we need to do for that is, so first let's refresh this URL and When you come down to this frame, right click on it, inspect date picker, and you can see this is under, yeah, this is under an iframe. See this iframe. It has an ID, so we can use this ID. We don't need this web element also. So for example, yeah, you can take this ID, as an XPath and switch to this iframe, right? All right. Or you can, as it's an ID, you can directly provide the ID also here. So you can provide ID, right? Frame, we can provide parameters and name, ID. We have learned this. So you can directly provide the ID also. So I'm just providing the ID of the frame directly. All right. Now we have switched it. Fine. Now what we need to do? We wanted to actually click on this date picker, right? So let's click on this date picker. For that, let's inspect this element, date. It's a date picker, and you can see this one. We have to click on this one, right? This actually opens the date picker. So what we need to do, we need to find out this one, this element, right? So it has to be, it's a calendar, right? So it's an icon actually. Yeah, you can see this is been highlighted here. Yeah. So if you select this, it is under the span class icon calendar, right? So somehow this selector sub is not able to identify that because it's in a frame, right? Maybe because of that, it was not able to identify, but you can see icon calendar, it's a span element, span tag, right? So with this, we can write the XPath. Span class, span is the tag and class as icon calendar. So with this, let's write the XPath. Driver dot find element. You can write the XPath. Y dot XPath. It's a span, right? So you can see span tag and then it's a class. Class is the attribute. It has icon calendar. Okay. All right. So this actually, on this we'll click it. So that the date picker will be open, right? Now, like how we did in the last example, we'll create a customized or user-defined method, right? Where we'll pass the, again, same, the driver. So this time, let's call it as required or desired year. Right? Now, this method is not there, right? So it will throw an error. This idea cannot be resolved to a variable. But select date itself is not there, right? So we have to create this method, select date, right? So we can get the signature from here. I'll call it as select date. We have to actually provide the input, right? So decide year, we have to select a date, right? So that we need to do. Say, for example, I will provide some date, some year, month, and this date, some date, right? So this is what we wanted to select on the date picker. So for that, we created a method. All right. So we didn't define it earlier. So it was actually throwing that error. It was able to not able to resolve this. All right. So this is the date we wanted to select on the date picker, and we wanted to create a method for this. So how are we going to do that? So observe now. It's bit similar to the earlier example, but only challenge here is we need to compare the methods, the month. So based on that, we'll choose on which arrow we have to click, right? So how are we going to write the logic for this? So first we'll select year. So if you see here is a drop down, right? So let's first automate that. So it's a select class. It's a select class, and it has an options to select the year value, right? So we can easily write the automate this drop down, right? So we have seen this driver.find element by.xpath. So select class. Let me refresh this once again. Also close this. We'll open the selectors up again. Okay, selector sub is not providing it. Okay, anyway, so we can see it's a select class equal to UI date picker year. Okay, we can take this and write our own XPath. It's a select class, right? Select class, select tag, and class as this attribute. All right. We found the year, right? So year drop down. So this is a web element. Web element. We can just say it's a year drop down, right? And then how do we automate the year drop downs? So we need to pass that to the select class, right? Select class object. We have to select and pass that to this select class. So this is how we do it, right? This is how we actually automate the drop down. So we do have something called select class where we will pass this drop down web element to that. So using this select object, now we can actually select the option within the drop down. So how are we going to do that? Select here dot select by. You can use any of these three methods. I'm gonna use select by visible text. So it is again giving like this. Okay, so let's actually call this desired year, desired month, and desired date. This is the drop down for year, right? So I'm passing desired here, right? So what are we doing here? So till here, like we just navigated to this, and then it's in a date picker is in a frame. So we switch to the particular frame. Then we clicked on the date picker calendar. Then we wanted to select this particular date. So we call this method, user defined method, which actually takes all these parameters. And using that, so it's a year is a drop down. So we are first selecting the year. So to drop for selecting the drop down, right? So the web element has to be passed to the select class. We have seen this. So we have passed this web element of year to the select class, and we are using this select object to select one of the options within the drop down. That is the desired year. Till here, we selected the year, right? So select year has been done. Now, how do we select the month? So this is the challenge for us. So what we can do for this is, so first actually get the existing month. So the month which has been displayed here, which is a label. So if you see here, somehow selector sub is not working. Maybe it is because of like it's an iframe. Still it has to work. Anyway, so if you see span class equal to a date picker month, right? So this is the path of it, right? So let's write an X path for this and driver dot find element. by.xpath slash span is a tag and then class equal to, this is the class name. So this actually gives us the month, current month, right? So get the text of that. So that will give you the label. So we can call this as current month, or we can just say display month. Right? So we captured it and we have saying it as display month, right? Displayed month, whatever is the displayed month, or we can just even call it as current month as well, right? So when you click on it, it will give you the current month, right? So we'll call it as current month. So we got the current month now. Now, what we wanted to do, we wanted to compare this with the expected one, or, with the desired month. So how do we do that? So for that, there is something called, so in Java, there is something called month. So there is a month enum. So a predefined enum. Enum is like a, it's a month is an enum. So provided by java.time package. So which represents the months of the year. So what is an enum is? Enum is used to represent a fixed set of constants. So month is an enum, which actually, you know, provided by the java.time package to represent the months of the year, right? So what is enum is? Enum is also like a, it's a kind of class, right? Which is used to represent a fixed set of constants. So they are ideally used for representing a collection of related constants, like, days of the week, months of the year, like that, right? So that's how the enum is, like enum is. So it looks like a normal class, right? But it's mainly designed for representing the collection of related constants, right? So that's what an enum is. So one such an enum, predefined enum is month, which is defined in the java.time package, right? So that we are gonna use now. So how we are gonna use that is, so we'll use that month to get the months of it, and then which actually returns the month object, right? So it will return a month object. So using that, right? So we have two months here, right? So the current month or the display month. So we can call it as even the display, whatever is displayed, right? This display month and as well as the desired month. So these months, we can only compare them when we convert them to an objects, month objects, right? So what we are gonna do here now is, so we're gonna write the logic using the month enum. So the month enum actually, so whenever you, so we pass some month to it, so it is gonna return as an object, month object, right? So we can write the comparisons if these two are objects. So now we don't have any clue on this. Both are strings, right? So how do you compare? How do you compare and how do you actually choose whether you need to click on the left arrow or right arrow or previous arrow or next arrow? You don't know that, right? So in order to do that, we need to compare these months. Upon the comparison, then we have to choose whether you have to click on the next arrow or previous arrow. So in order to even do that comparison, you can't do that on the strings directly, right? So we have to convert them to the month objects. So to convert that to the month objects, we are making use of this enum called month, right? So we are gonna use this enum month, which will actually return as a month object, right? So we are gonna write that customized method again, right? So we are gonna write a new user-defined method where we will pass this display month, that is current month, and the desired month, which we wanted. We'll pass it like first call will be passing display month and second call will be maybe desired month. So we'll have two calls to that method, which we are gonna write newly. So which will return objects, right? Month objects. That month objects we can compare it. And then based on that comparison result, we'll choose whether to click on the left arrow or right arrow. So that's what we are gonna do now. Right? For that, so let's actually, so what we wanted to do, we wanted to convert. convert to the month object. Convert it to month. Decide month I wanted to convert. So which has to return month object for me. So I'll call this as my expected month. So this month you have to import it from java.time. So this convert method month we are gonna define it now. So display month also we'll pass it. All right. So this is now this we can call it as current month. Right? Convert month is not a predefined month, right? So we are gonna pass this desired month and display month to this method, which will actually give us a month object. So based on that, we'll actually compare this here after this. But even before that, we have to write the logic, how to convert this string to month object. So let's write that. Create method. You can just have it in a default one, default access modifier. And now I'm gonna write a logic here. So we'll write a switch case. We can even put it, we can even have a hash map as well. So for now, I'll just, have it a switch case. So if you see convert month, right? So you can just say convert month name. So what it does. So let's go through this code. So we have written a switch case. It will take month name as parameter. It's a string, right? We are passing string as a parameter to it. So if it is January, right? So it is gonna return month.January. See, month is an enum here, which is coming from java.time package. Month is an predefined enum. Month.January actually returns you the month object. See, it will return a month object, right? So month.February. If it is February, whatever you are passing as a text as February, then it will return month.February. But this is an object. See, it returns an object and so on, right? Till December, it will return an object. And if you are providing some invalid value, some invalid string, it will return null. It will return null so that we can handle it later, right? If it is null. So it just indicates it's an invalid month, right? So if it is a valid month, right? So it will compare with the switch case and it will return the particular month object of that particular month, right? So with this, what happens? We'll get two objects, two month objects. So if they are of same type and the two of month objects, then we can use some methods within which month actually provides for comparison, for comparing the 2 months. So this example itself is like we started for this example actually to select the months, right? So how do we select the months is we wanted to compare the month, desired month with the displayed month. And then we have to choose so that why we need this comparison based on that result. We wanted to choose either left arrow or right arrow. So which one to click, we have to know that, right? So for that, we need this comparison. And to have the comparison, we are converting these 2 months into month objects, right? So now we successfully converted this. So you can even put this in a hash map as well. So put all this, months.January. You can have this as a key and this as a value, right? And then finally you can get the value of whatever the month has been passed to it, right? So when you say get, so this will be the key, right? So based on that, you can return this as a value. So even you can do that way as well and just use the switch case, right? And if you observe switch case, we didn't write break statement. Why? So here we are returning the value, right? Once the case matches, we are returning the value. We don't need the break statement anymore, right? All right. Now we have 2 month objects which we can compare, right? Now, how do we compare that? So observe now. Expected month dot compare to is a method provided by month object, month enum, right? Compare to current month. So I'm comparing expected month with the current month. Say for example, expected month, if it is future date, future month, then comparison with the, say for example, the current month is August. right? So expected month is November, say for example. So expected month is in future, right? So November compared to August. So what it will do is November is the 11th month, right? 11th month compared to with August, 8th month. So it will do the difference of it. 11 minus 8, 3, right? So it's a positive integer. It will return a positive integer. Positive integer indicates it's a future month, right? Say for example, current month is August, right? The expected month, if I give it as June, right? So June expected month compared to August. So June minus August, that is 6 minus 8. It will be minus 2. So it's a negative number. So if it is negative, then it will we can decide it's a past date. So past date indicates we have to click on the left arrow or the previous arrow. So this is how we will actually choose to click on the left arrow or right arrow based on the result of this compare to method. So this compare to method actually returns integer value. Integer value, right? I'll just call it as difference between the months. Month difference, right? Based on this month difference, if month difference is less than 0, that is negative number, right? Then what we need to do, driver dot find element, y dot xbar, we have to click on the left arrow as it is a negative number. Negative number indicates past date, past month, right? So how do you get this? Just hover on this, you will see the anchor tag for this, right? So this is the anchor tag for it. You can get it as is. It's a class, right? It's under, okay, this one. You can select this. This span class, you can use it. Span, it's a class attribute. And this is the value of it, right? So this we need to click is what we'll come to know. We clicked on it. Else if month if it is greater than 0, then it is a future month. It's a future month. So what we need to do in case of if it is future month, we have to click on the right arrow. Right arrow X path will be the same, just it will differ with this letter. So which will denote left is indicating west, right is indicating east, represented with this E, right? So this is a future month. We are clicking on the right arrow. All right. Now, what if it is equal? So that is what we wanted, right? Like if it is same, right? So then we can break it. So to break it or, to actually loop through this, so we have to write again a loop, right? So you'll find the desired month and desired, expected month with, we are comparing it with this. So why we are doing this? If it is less, if it is past month, so we are clicking on the left arrow. Left arrow, you'll click it, but you have to know, right? Again, like if it is expected or not. So then again, you have to loop through this display. So you have to write this like loop again. This will be the while loop. You don't know, right? If the month is so till the diff is 0, you have to loop through this. Again, you will select this month. You'll select the display month, and you'll get the desired month and display month objects. We'll compare it, right? So then, if it is 0, less than 0, then we'll know we have to click on the left arrow. Then we'll click on the left arrow, go on, right? And then if it is 0, right? So then means it will enter into the else loop and it will break. Meaning we got the month. in the date picker, right? Or else it will actually execute this. If it is a past date, always this loop will execute this part, this condition, if condition, and then it will go back. Display month, we'll select the month again, and then we'll get the two objects, expected month and current month. Expected month will always be the same. So you can even have this outside of the loop as well. So no issues. But just for readability, I had it in the loop itself. So then we'll compare it this expected month, and then if it is again less than 0. So once you compare, it will be always the same, right? So with the current month, it will always be the same. Like it will be less, only less if it is past date. If it is, this is greater than 0 actually, future month, right? So it will be greater. So it will click on the right arrow. So this goes on, happens till month diff becomes 0. If it is 0, right? So then both expected month is equal to current month. That's the logic. So once it is month is same, so then we can come out of the loop. So once we come out of the loop, so what we can do, we can just select the date. So we know how to select the date, right? So we can find the XPath of it, of all the elements within that web table, which we have done earlier in the last example, the same case. So if you see, this is the table. Table class equal to, this is the class, and it has tbody, tr. Add tag name after /. We added, right? So tbody, okay, we'll directly write the XPath here. Table, what's the class? This one, and then it will be tbody, tr, td, and then it's an anchor tag. So you can see that here, right? Under it, these are all TRs. Each week is represented with TR. Same as earlier example, right? So I'm not going with the in-deep explanation. So you can see it's a TD. Under each TD, you will have an anchor tag again, right? So that's the reason I have put directly here, the XPath, right? So this is the XPath of it, of all the dates. So these are web elements. So these are more than one element, right? So we'll capture that into a list of web elements. And then we'll call it as, so there is nothing new here. You can just even copy the earlier logic. It will be all dates. And then you'll use this enhanced for loop. So I can even get this enhanced for loop from here. See, choosing the date once we are at the desired month and year is same, right? So it will be the same. So this will be the desired date. All right. So let's go through once what we did, right? So we wanted to select a desired date. So for that, we created a user-defined method here. So here is a dropdown. So we use select class to select the year. Fine. Now we wanted to compare the months. So why we are doing this? We wanted to know whether we need to click the left arrow or right arrow. So for that, we need to compare the desired month with the current month. So we have written a logic here. So the display month, we are reading it from the label, from the date picker. And then we are actually passing this to the convert month. Convert month is a method which we have written, which will return the month object. So month is an enum, which will is an enum, and it will return a month object, right? So we wanted this comparison. So as we can't actually compare the months with strings, we don't know how to compare them. Like we can't even compare them. Those are two strings, right? So we can't compare those strings as months. So we are converting them into objects, right? To convert them into objects, we use month enum, and we have written our own user-defined method to convert them. So once we have the objects, we can use the compare to methods because both are now objects. So month objects. So we can compare them using the compare to method. So compare to method, how it works. So expected month compared to current month in the sense, then it will compare with this, it will convert it into a number, the corresponding month number, and it will actually calculate the month. It will actually see the difference of these 2 months. So if the expected month is, it's a future month. If it is greater than the current month, then it will return a difference as positive integer, or else it will return a negative integer. So based on that, we will know if it is a negative integer, we'll come to know that it's a past month, and we'll click on the left arrow. For that, we have written the logic here. And if it is a future month, then we have to click on the right arrow. And for that, we have written a logic here, right? So if it is a positive integer, we have to click on the right arrow. This is the logic. Say, for example, if the difference is 0, meaning current month and expected month are same. So that's what we wanted to achieve, right? So if it is same, then we break this complete while loop and come out of this. And this is all the same story. Like we can get all the dates from the date picker, and from that we return an enhanced for loop to choose the desired date from it. Right? 2025. Yeah, some date here, right? So let's run this and verify. Yes, today it seems like it's taking long time to load. Yeah, you can see, yeah, it clicks on it and it was very fast. So you can see the desired date has been selected. 6/15, that is June 15, I guess. Yeah, June 15. So you can see the desired date has been selected, right? You can actually choose a different date also. Like let's actually choose a past date and past year, and also month also we have to change. Month is crucial here, right? So let's actually give some, it was June, right? It was past date. So now let me give some future month. So it's all about month, right? So I have selected June, which was like past month to August. Now I am selecting December, which will be a future month. Here you can give any number. It's a drop down. It will directly select. Now we are selecting another one. Future month. So all that we need to validate here is about the month, right? So we validated already the past month, which is June, compared to August. And we wanted to compare the future month, which is like future to August, right? So I just provided December. Yeah, you can see. Yeah, it selects correctly, right? Forget about the year. It's a drop down, right? It will directly, anyway, it will select it easily. It's easy, but you have to concentrate on the month. See, 12. 12 is the month, 15 is the date, right? So it selected according to the desired date it has to select, right? So it was able to select it. So that it was able to do it using by clicking on the right arrow. So We have validated both. If you want, you can even, select the current month also. Current month anyway, there is no change, right? So this, when it enters into this loop, so it will directly enter into this else condition. Month date will be 0. So I'm not showing that. You can try all the other dates as well when you are practicing. So now, let me show you an optimized one. So how do can we optimize this code? Yes, we can, right? So if you see here, while true, if it is returning, like, this diff anyway, when if it is less than, right? If it is June compared to August, current month, so then it will be less than. Anyway, it will be a negative number, right? So we have to click on this. Again, if you go back to this loop, again, you are actually seeing this display month, right? You are converting this month. Anyway, you know that it will be negative, right? It will be negative number, or, it will be the past month compared to the current month. So you have to click on it. You know this. Anyway, only this will happen if it is a past month. Always this will execute. This if condition will execute. And if it is future date, only this else if will execute. Else, though you write this whole logic, so this entire thing is redundant if you observe, right? With the first iteration itself, you can say that month diff, if it is positive integer, so you need to click on the right arrow till you get the future month, right? So always it will enter into this. It has to execute only this statement. For that, we are actually repeating this whole loop, right? So can we actually optimize this code? Yes, we can, right? So let me show you that. Instead of writing like this whole while loop itself, so what we can do is, so I'll just, okay, before doing that, I can just comment this out. Or before that, yeah, I'll just comment this out. We are just optimizing the code, okay? Can we write something like this? This is desired month or required month, anything, right? So if you see, here we have selected, we have optimized this code. We had a while loop earlier, right? Which was like executing every time, even though we know that the difference is negative, or if it is a past month, if it is negative, then we know that we have to click on the left arrow. But we are calculating it every time, right? Like this whole part is redundant. Every time we are calculating. Instead of that, what we can do is display month. So we get the display month. Then we'll pass it. This will be the same. So we got the 2 month objects, right? Decide month object and display month object. Now, what we can do? We are comparing expected month with current month. Even this is the same. You get the diff. You got the diff, right? Month diff. Then what you can do here is, so here we have written, see, if it is 0, months are equal. If it is greater than 0, future month. If it is less than 0, past month, right? So now what we are doing, we have defined the navigation path here. So if it is diff is less than 0, then we know it is a past date. So we are defining the X path here, the particular X path. This X path is for the arrow, left arrow. And else, if it is greater than 0, then the X path for the right arrow. So we have put it in a variable called navigation X path. Now, what we are doing, so once we do this, so if you see here, I'm not writing any while loop till here. All this part is one time. So to choose whether to choose the left arrow or right arrow, right? So based on this diff, we actually assign the value to the navigation XPath. This XPath, we can use it in a loop. How we are using this loop? Observe now carefully. So if it is, say for example, if it is a past date, current month is August, say for example, and if it is June, expected month is June, right? Expected month is June. June compared to August, it will be -2, right? 6 minus 8, it will be -2. So it has to click 2 times. Left arrow has to be clicked 2 times. So for that, we have written a loop here. I equal to 0, I less than 2. It has to be 2, right? But if you say diff, it will be -2. So we are using a method here, math.apps. We are using a predefined method, apps, math.apps, which will return an absolute value. So if the argument is not negative, the argument is returned. If the argument is negative, the negation of the argument is returned. Right? The negation of the negation is positive, right? So it will return a positive integer, I less than 2. So it will actually click this arrow 2 times. It will click this arrow 2 times. Clicks the arrow diff number of times. Right? So it will click 2 times in our case. Say for example, if it was future date, December, expected month December compared to August, right? 12 minus 8, 4, right? So in this case, what happens? The whole logic will be the same, but we are writing a small loop here. We know that the arrow has to be clicked 4 times to get into the December month. So that we have written here, I less than 4. So till that point, so do this click 4 times, right? Is what we are saying. And this navigation path, we are getting it based on the diff value. So this is the optimized code. So let's run this now. So it is a past date, right? All right. Oh, I have given August. It's not. Let's give some future month. So what did we do here? We just optimized the code. Earlier we had that while loop, which was like running and evaluating the desired month and also calculating the diff of the desired month with the expected month every time. Instead of doing that, like in all the iterations, we'll do in one iteration, we'll find the difference. And based on the difference between the months, expected month and the desired month, expected month and the current month. So based on the diff, we'll get that result, right? We are using that result and clicking that number of times. See, it actually selects the right month, right? With the current logic as well. So you can even choose the past month as well. I'm giving March here, right? This can be anything. Year is a drop down, right? So we don't need to worry on the year. We wanted to validate the month. Yeah, see, we are selecting the past month, March, right? So March has been selected without any error. See, March 15th, right? So this is how you can actually, automate a date picker. So based on a different design, you have to actually write the logic, right? So in the first example, what did we choose? Both month and year were the labels. So we are comparing both month and year, right? And then we were actually looping it. In this example, in the second example, year was dropped down. So we were able to select it easily, but month was a label. So to compare the month with the desired month, we used like month enum to get converted that desired month and the current month into month objects, and we found the difference. Based on the difference, we choose which arrow to click. If it is a past month, we will click on the left arrow. If it is a future month, we will click on the right arrow, right? So this is as per that design. Now, in the same way, like, so for today, you can take this as an assignment. You can practice this. So both year and month are drop down. So this will be the straightforward one for you. So if you click on this, so you can see month as a dropdown, year as a dropdown, right? So you can practice this. I think I have shown this at the beginning of the session. So the next one is so this one. So if you see here, click on round trip, go to departure. So if you see here, so flight, round trip, right? Departure, and you can see month as a drop down here. But year here is a label, right? So how do you automate in that case? So you can read this, and this is a number, right? So even if it is a string, so whatever label you see on the web element, right? It will always be strings. Remember that. So you, even though you see 2024, even if you think that's a number, so it's always it will be having when you actually use a get text method, right, to get this label. So it will be string. So you need to convert that into an integer. So how do you convert that? You'll use a method called integer dot parse it, and you'll get this integer. And then you can compare this with your desired year. And based on that, you'll choose whether to click on left arrow or right arrow. And you can even calculate the diff of the year with the current year, and you can choose to click only that number of times using a for loop, like how we have seen in the optimized code, right? And month is straightforward, like you can, it's a drop down, so simple to select. And date, it will be the same pattern, right? So date, you'll get all this as a web table, and you'll choose the desired date, right? So try to automate this, try to work on these assignments. So uh, try to solve these assignments. If it is like, if you face any issues, we'll see that in the next session. Any questions? Is everything clear? Yeah, if you don't have any questions, then maybe we can wrap up the session.